Okay, I'm not there right now, so I zoomed in on this picture, and hopefully you can see how we hung it. So these are copper tube straps that I spray painted black, attach them with anchors to the wall, and they just go around the copper towel rack. This is what they look like in the store. Let's make a copper towel rack. So I started with 1/2-inch copper pipe, and to cut it to size, I use this rigid tool. It has a blade on the inside. You twist it around your pipe and then make the blade tighter and then twist it around more, and then it just cuts through. Super easy. And then this is what I cut out. And then I didn't have to solder this because there's not going to be water on the inside or anything. I just used Gorilla Glue to attach all of the fittings. Worked great for a towel rack. And then I just kind of assembled the whole thing with the Gorilla Glue. I kind of just made up the pattern that I wanted to be able to hang a couple of towels. Once it was all assembled and dry, I used fingernail polish remover to remove the red markings on the copper. This is what it looked like, but I actually decided that I didn't like it copper and I spray painted it black. Don't be mad at me. Drill versus an impact driver. What's the difference, and do you need both? If you're only gonna buy one, every time buy a drill. It has an adjustable chuck so that it can fit lots of different sizes. All these different sizes fit into a drill, and it has plenty of power. An impact driver is lighter and stronger, but it only has a hex collet. So you can only use drill bits that have a hex on the end. It's a great tool to add to your toolbox once you already have a drill, but if you can only get one, get a drill. You can adjust the angle that this blade is. First of all, take out the battery. Don't want to mess with anything with battery in. Loosen this, and then the whole thing shifts. And you're gonna find this arrow, see this arrow? You're gonna line it up with about the 20, and then tighten it back up. Perfect. So now, can you see that when we move this lays flat on the plywood, see how it's gonna cut at an angle? Look, it's perfect. See that slight angle right there? Life is too short to have a sink that you hate. This one's from 1988 and the whole kitchen needs a makeover, but let's at least switch out this sink. So I started by measuring it and ordering some supplies. And then my husband took apart all the old plumbing and unwired the old garbage disposal, which was not working. And then we removed the sink, and then we dry fit the new sink. We didn't even have to cut the top larger. It just fit perfectly. And then I went ahead and installed the faucet while the sink was on the table, which is much easier than if you have to crawl underneath the cabinet. I also installed the garbage disposal, which I've never done before, but it was actually really easy. Then we put it back down, and of course this is when we realized that the supply lines were too short, so we're gonna have to go get longer supply lines back to Lowe's. So I went and got these that are a little bit longer. And then I got home and I rewired the garbage disposal and the supply lines. Oh yeah, it's coming together. Finishing touches. And there we go. It's awesome because it can pull it out and it turns on automatically, or it has a touchless. Yes. If you've never tiled before, a kitchen backsplash is the perfect beginner project. Use pre-mixed tile adhesive. It can go straight on your drywall. All you have to do is kind of spread it on with a trowel and then scrape it off at a 45-degree angle. Since these are small tiles, you don't have to back butter them. Just push them onto the adhesive and kind of wiggle them back and forth. I'm not using any spacers here because I want a very minimal grout lines, because this is a liege tile, which doesn't really have grout lines. You are going to have to make some cuts, and so to do that, line up where you need to cut and mark it, and then use this manual tile cutter to kind of score it and crack it. For your more complicated cuts, you're going to need a wet saw. You can rent this from Home Depot. The blade isn't sharp, it just kind of grinds the tiles. After you've applied all of your tiles, let the adhesive dry overnight, and then you're ready for grout. I like pre-mixed grout because it's so easy. You push it on into the cracks with a grout float and then wipe it off with baby wipes. That's your crash course on tiling. Ask any questions in the comments. A ledger board is going to let your tiles rest on this board so they don't like sink down with the weight of the mortar. Oh, there we go. There we go. When you're tiling, you may find that your outlet's no longer actually attached to the box. Here's how to fix that. First, turn off the power to the outlet, and then you're going to replace the little screws that came with it with longer screws. You're also going to need some of these. These are called ideal spacers, and you can adjust them to the length that you need, and they wrap around the screw to give you just the kind of spacer you need. For this switch, this can rest on the tile, but this is going to need some spacers. Put the longer screw in, and then you're going to add these spacers to this side of the screw. And then you're going to position it so it's going to go into that box. Let's see if that was enough spacers. Perfect. A longer screw down here. No spacer needed since this can rest on the edge of the tile. And this will go on top. Add your screws and you're done. I've spent the last 4 months giving my 1980s kitchen a facelift. I painted the walls and the cabinets, added an arch to this doorway, and replaced my old laminate countertops with new laminate. I laid new LVP flooring and built a bench for the breakfast nook. I added some new recessed lights and changed out all the old lighting in the kitchen. And then I added some trim to the doors and then built this cute display rack. Even added some storage inside of the cabinet. Then I added a custom tile backsplash using Zalige tiles and some floating shelves. And I took my kitchen from this to this. This is just proof that you don't have to gut your kitchen and spend tens of thousands of dollars giving it a new feel. Little projects compounded on top of each other can make a huge difference in the look and feel of your house. Do you want to make your own floating shelves? Here's how I made these out of solid white oak. I went to a local lumberyard and bought white oak that was 5/4 thick, which is a little over an inch. I mounted these brackets from Amazon straight onto the studs, and then I cut the white oak to size and laid it on top of the brackets to mark where to drill with this crazy long drill bit. I started off with my drill press to get it straight, and then I finished off with the hammer drill, and then it slid into place, and look at that, perfectly level, and then we tiled around it. And then we were done. I love how these turned out. Let me know if you have any questions. Time for my next budget room makeover. I'm tackling my bathroom that's stuck in 1988. It's got multiple layers of peeling wallpaper and an ugly cabinet. Ugh, so much needs to be done for it. I started with removing the wallpaper. The top layer was like vinyl-y, so I peeled it off and then used a steamer on the middle part that was like paper and glue. And then after I got that part off, then I could kind of just peel off the second layer of wallpaper. Thankfully, it didn't leave too bad, just a little bit of drywall repair. And I was like, you know what? Let's stain the ceiling too. Follow for more updates.
Hey, 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 hey.
If you have an upside down outlet and you want to change it, here's how. First, you're going to turn off the power at the breaker and then confirm that the power is off with a non-contact voltage tester. Electrical code doesn't actually dictate which way the outlet has to face. It can go up or down or even sideways, but a lot of people have a preference, so you're welcome to turn it however you want. You're just going to loosen the screws at the top and the bottom, pull it out, kind of wiggle it back in place, and push all those wires back in. In some areas, in some older houses, an upside down outlet means that it's connected to a light switch, but even then, if it annoys you, you can totally change it. Just take out those screws and then flip it around, put the screws back in, add your cover plate, and then you're done. Make your house look how you want it to, folks.
1, 2, 3, 4. Doom tek, tek, doom tek, doom tek, tek, doom tek.
My friend is pregnant with twins. Let's make over this dresser for her. I started by degreasing the whole thing, and then she didn't want these handles, so I'm taking them off, and then I'm actually filling the nail holes first with caulk and kind of make it kind of concave, and then I'm going to do a layer of wood filler. This makes it much faster to dry, and then you can sand it much quicker. So sanded everything, scuff sanded the whole piece, primed with a shellac-based primer that'll hide all the tannins in the wood. And then I'm going to spray it. I'm using advanced paint in the color Benjamin Moore old blue jeans, and it's the cutest color for a nursery. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so cute. I sprayed 2 coats and then put on some new handles. These are just black ones from Amazon. Look how cute it looks. Oh wait, we forgot 2 handles. Hold on. Here's it in her nursery. Ready? Oh my! Here's how I made this vanity. So when we gutted this bathroom, I knew I wanted this vanity, but it was like $2,500 without even a top. And I was like, I can't afford that. I'm just going to make it. So I sketched it out, stole the measurements from that website, and then I made the frame out of oak 2x2s and pocket holes. This is what it looked like. And I was like, oh, this might actually work. Then the bottom shelf where like the towels go, I made oak 1x3s and attached those all the way across the bottom with pocket holes. And then I stained everything early American, 3 coats of poly over it, so it was super protected. Then I made some cabinet doors and some drawers. The drawers were way tricky, but I finally got them. Look at this soft close. What? We, of course, secured it to studs so my children would not pull it over on top of themselves. We added the top, and then this is what it looked like before the drawers and doors were on. Oh, man. Added some handles from Amazon, and here's how she turned out. I'm so proud of this build. Welcome back to Power Tools 101. I'm Delancey, and today we're talking about sanders. A power sander is the perfect first tool because they're not super expensive, they won't chop your fingers off, and they're make quick work of any sanding project you have. The most common ones are called a palm sander because they fit in your palm. Corded are great because they never run out of power. Battery are great because you can take them anywhere, but you have a little bit extra weight from the battery on it. If you have a ton of material to get through, something like a belt sander is awesome for removing a lot of material. Whereas if you want detail, something like this multi-tool sander or even this little tiny oscillating multi-tool sander, these are great for details. If you can only buy one and you're going for the most economical, a plug-in one that's a 1/4 sheet sander, that'll probably be your most economical because you can chop up these and use it 4 times. All of these sanders do the same thing. They remove material. But if you're only going to get one, I like a battery operated 5-inch random orbit sander with the hook and loop. So fast.